Hello everyone, welcome back to our class. This time we are going to explore more on number lines. Directed numbers. So let's look at the relationship between positive sign and negative. Both for multiplication and division, we have that. Let's look at multiplication. So multiplication. So we have negative multiplied by negative, that will give us positive. Then negative multiplied by positive, that will give us negative. Positive multiplied by negative, that will still give us negative. And then positive multiplied by positive, that will give us what? Positive. Okay, so this same thing applies for division. So when dividing numbers, we have that negative divided by negative. That's a negative number divided by another negative number will give you what? A positive result. And that is how we apply this. So, and when you are given questions like this, so let's say you are given -4 plus -6. So what happens is that, well, when you have two signs, positive and negative, sitting side by side, the principle that governs it are these rules that are stated here. So let's assume that a plus and minus are fighting, and each time they engage in a fight, only one person comes out victorious, and that is the negative. In other words, looking at the rules we have written down, we have that negative times positive will give us what? Negative. So whenever you have questions like this, you can separate it with what? A bracket. So you separate the two signs with a bracket. And bracket, which can also be called parentheses, whichever way you know, means multiplication. So this becomes positive multiplied by negative, and the result is what? Negative. So that means that this becomes -4 minus 6. So -4 minus 6, what would that give you? Okay, of course, that's -10. And how do we know it's -10? You can go back to the previous video where I explained using number line. And moreover, negative is loss, actually, or we can regard negative as debt. So when you owe, your account is written, let's say you are owing your network provider, such like MTN. If you borrow money from MTN, they will write negative for you. Okay, meaning that you are owing. So what happens is that if you borrow the first time and then borrow the next time, the second time, your credit increases. So they add up the sum of money you are owing. Let's say you borrow 200 naira, or let me write it. So you borrowed 200 naira from MTN and then borrowed the second time, you borrowed 400 naira. So in total, you'll be owing them what? 600 naira. You are owing. And because you are owing, in your account balance, you are going to see a negative sign, meaning this is debt. So you are owing somebody 4 naira, let's use naira, or you are owing, and then you are owing another person 6. So in total, you are owing total of what? 10. Okay, so let's check the next one. Let's say we have 7 minus positive 3. So 7 minus positive 3. So what happens here? I've already added parentheses. So when you have minus times plus, that will give you negative. Okay. So minus times plus is negative. Like I stated earlier, you can take it that each time they are sitting side by side, that they are fighting, and negative always comes out victorious. Okay, so this can now be written as minus 3. And 7 minus 3, that gives you what? Positive 4. This is positive 7 minus 3. And then again, so let's say we have minus 6 plus 3 minus 4 minus 6. Okay, so looking at that question, most people, as simple as it seems, might still fail it. But when you consider the factors we've stated so far, then you can be able to get the answer. So let's look at it this way. Um, Anytime you have positive and negative sitting side by side, you demarcate with a bracket. Or maybe negative and negative sitting by side. So let's start by adding brackets in that number. And then this becomes negative 6 plus what? 3 minus 4. So plus brackets, sorry, minus times minus, because bracket is multiplication. Minus multiplied by minus gives you what? Positive, and that becomes positive 6. So now negative 6 plus 3. Well, you can still rearrange this question whichever way, but let's solve it as it is stated here. Okay, so negative 6 plus 3. This means you are owing 6 and you have, remember, minus is debt. So you are owing 6 and you have 3. So consider when you pay the debt you are owing, what happens? The money you have will reduce. So you were owing 6 and then you have 3 and then you paid. So what will be left? You will still be owing 3 and then continue minus 4 plus 6. And then, so you are owing someone 3 and you are owing another 4. That becomes total of 7 that you are owing and you have 6. Okay, so right now you are owing total of 7 and the total amount you have with you, or the total number you have with you, is 6. So minus 7 plus 6, you are owing 7 and you have 6. When you pay, you will be owing 1, and that becomes the answer. Don't forget that you can still rearrange this question by maybe putting positive numbers first. So let's say this is positive 3 and plus 6, positive 6. This one is negative 6 and then negative 4. Okay, so 3 plus 6, that gives us 9. And then we have 9 minus 6 minus 4. So 9 minus 6 gives us 3 minus 4. So 3 minus 4, when you subtract a bigger number from a smaller number, the result is always negative. For that question, let's look at number line again. So this is our 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Negative 1, negative 2. So this is 3. Locate 3 and then move towards the left because negative is left. Move towards the left 4 times from 3. So this is 3. We move 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 3 minus 4 gives us negative 1. And that is how we do that. See you in the next video. Please like, comment, and share. Thanks.